There is something different about the iPhone 7 from previous number releases, and that is that there is no redesign. It is the same design as was with the previous two generations. Now, this isn't the first time Apple's done this. They've done this before with the iPhone SE, and that's where the term comes from that describes its releases. They're called e-releases. The first reason is the camera. So, the camera in the iPhone 6s was a major upgrade, but it wasn't big enough. It was still behind some of its competitors. And this is because the camera is on a tick-tock schedule currently. It introduces a major upgrade every odd year and a minor upgrade every even year. So like the iPhone 4S, 5S, 6S, those were major camera upgrades. iPhone 5 and 6, those were minor camera upgrades. However, Apple has realized that this is causing their cameras to fall behind. So now they will do a major upgrade for 2 years and then a minor upgrade 1 year, since they can't keep up this major upgrade yearly. But they will now have it so it is a major, major, minor, major, major, minor for the camera, so that it can keep up. And the same thing with the front-facing camera. This isn't keeping up. Unfortunately, it wasn't upgraded in the SE, but it was greatly upgraded in the 6S and the 7. Also, the age of major redesigns is over. Apple seems to be running out of new designs, and this is shown in the iPhone 8. It looks a little similar to the iPhone 4 and 4S. They already have it very thin, and if they made it thinner, nobody would really care and the camera would protrude more. If they made it thicker, then people would care because it would be thicker. And if they made it bigger, people would complain that it's too big. If they made it smaller, that would conflict with their plans of making the display bigger. So they don't really have anywhere to go with the design currently. Our third reason is the features. So in like 2015, iPhone wasn't waterproof while its competitors were. And they couldn't just have a release every other year that doesn't introduce many new features. They have to always introduce major new features, which is why they decided to have e-releases, which introduce new features 2 years in a row, so that they can keep up with all the features that its competitors have. So now that you know why they're doing it, you're probably wondering, what is this e-release thing? So this is what I'm going to explain now. But first I'm going to explain number releases and S releases. So first of all, number releases. Number releases have total redesigns of the phone. So like with the iPhone 6, it went to a curved design. This has the same design as the iPhone 5S did. And as you can see, it is a very different design. And they also have changes to the screen. Normally a bigger screen, but definitely always a better display than the predecessor. Like this had a 750 compared to 640 and 4.7 inches, higher contrast ratio, and better wide-angle viewing. iPhone 5 was a wider display. iPhone 4 was a Retina display. However, they do not have very major camera upgrades in number releases. As I said, this was the TikToks thing. They have camera upgrades, but not major camera upgrades. Although the front camera used to be upgraded in number releases and not S releases, but they've since begun upgrading it in S releases with the iPhone 6s. And the processor is another thing that is not really upgraded in number releases. It is like 25% faster with the 6, 31% faster with the 4. iPhone 5 was the only number release that had a huge processor upgrade, and that was double the speed. But generally, number releases do not have a big processor upgrade. However, the battery life generally does improve in number releases. The connectivity generally is improved in both. And the new features, generally not as much as in S releases. So, in S releases, there is usually a more durable design, a refined design, minor changes to the design in general, and they look almost exactly the same as the previous number release, and the display is generally the same as the previous one. So like with the iPhone 4S, same display as iPhone 4, iPhone 5S, same display as iPhone 5, iPhone 6S, same display as iPhone 6. Now, the camera, on the other hand, receives major upgrades in S releases, like with the 6S getting 4K, 12 megapixels, live photos, all of these new features. And the front-facing camera, I guess that's some time since in the 6S it was upgraded. The processor generally has the most speed increases in S releases, so if you want a speed increase, you can go with S releases. Battery life generally is an increase in S releases. Like with the 6S, you had the same battery life as with the 6. The 5S did have better battery life. The 3GS did have better battery life, but it wasn't a huge battery life increase like you would see in a number release. And also, a lot of new features are introduced in S releases. Now is when we come to the new release cycle, the E-releases. So E-releases generally have a... E-releases, there's no generally yet since there are only 2, but like with the 7, you have minor visual changes, removing the antenna bands, making this more symmetrical. The iPhone SE had no visual changes, just a new color. So we don't really know much about that. And it is like more durable with the 7. It is waterproof. We don't know much about design changes in this E-releases, but they are nowhere near as big as in number releases. They also have minor display upgrades, at least with the 7, not with the SE though. And the 7 had a minor display upgrade. Major camera upgrades, you see these both on the iPhone 7 and SE, but, well, with the 7 there was no megapixel increase, but there is still a huge camera upgrade. Upgraded front-facing camera, again, seen on the 7, not on the SE. Processor upgrade seen on the SE and not on the 7, but we can trust that generally E-releases won't have huge processor upgrades like S releases will, and the better battery life on E-releases, not as big an improvement as you would see on a number release, but a bigger improvement that you would see on an S release, and better connectivity, again, across all 3 releases, and even more new features than you would see on a number release or an S release. So basically, this could be because there are so many Android phones, and they have different features for all of them, and the iPhone doesn't have these features, so the iPhone has a lot of different features that it could get.